Hi there, Michelle G here, Bendy, Stitchy. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my channel about cross stitch, my Flosstube, where I talk about cross stitch, and today I have actually quite a bit of knitting. And then I fully finished a thing, I finished a thing, I had 2 starts and finishes. It's all happening. 1 start, 3 whips, Monopoly. Spoiler alert, I did all my plans from last week. Everything I listed as a plan got done from 2 weeks ago. Because every fortnight now. Anyway, let's get started. So from last time I filmed, I put in about 3,600 stitches, 3,682 or so, give or take, because I counted them myself. 9 stitching days for about 33 hours of stitching. I think that's a little bit under because I didn't record my time knitting last night. So that's stitching and knitting time. But I'm excited about, I got so much stuff done. So let's get right into it. So my first finish and FFO. So I finished it this week and I fully finished it this morning on my stream. This is my Spooky Summer ATC. And ATC is an artist trading card. So if you're not familiar with them, you should Google artist trading card. They're so cute and so small. This is a copy of one that I made last November or last October? Trina was my partner. So my friend Heather, Link is my homeboy, also runs an account called Stitchy Swap and ATC. And Heather organizes swaps. So she does quarterly big swaps for like larger stitched things, not big, but bigger than this. And then she does every 2 months ATC swaps, and they're all themed. So this was last year's Halloween swap. I liked it so much that I stitched it twice. This is a witchy stitcher pattern. And I finished 2 ATCs on one of my streams, I think, and I let Trina choose hers because I was late and it wasn't a surprise anymore. So Trina chose the other one and I kept this one. So now we have twins. She's my roomie. Love you, Trina. And then this one was due in the end of August and it's now October. So I'm wicked late. Again, I'm so sorry, partner. But it's done. It's finished. This is a little bit of a compilation of the 2 witchy stitcher patterns. So this is Spooky Summer, I think. Yeah, because I called it Spooky Summer ATC. So the flamingo and the watermelon and the bats are from Witchy Stitcher's Spooky Summer. And then the sun is from Witchy Stitcher Bad at Summer. Because this one had a big sun in the middle. So to make this ATC, I actually cut a tarot card because I erroneously bought a tarot deck that was copied off of another tarot deck. So instead of like whatever, I'm just using the cards from the tarot deck. Now I can make 79 ATCs without getting the cards. Anyway, so that's my stitching. I stitched it 1/1 on 32 count dark olive Lugana with DMC. And so I used this gold zigzag is a bag that some Liz at Stitchy Box always packages her silks really nicely. So this is a bag from Liz at Stitchy Box. And then I used some washi tape in the background. This is a sticker from my antique sticker book. And I put a little 2025 charm on there. When all the glue dries, I'll write on the back of it. And then I'll pop this in the mail to my partner, who probably thinks that she got ghosted. So sorry, partner. After I take a picture and post it on my Instagram. Sorry, Heather. I am late, but it's done and it's fully finished. And I love an ATC. Like, how cute are these? So cute, right? I love them. So this one's mine. This one's going out. And I always know that I made a good ATC because I really don't want to send this one out. I really want to keep it. But I'm going to send it because that's what we do. So that was my fully finished, my FFO, fully finished today, just this morning. And then my finish, y'all, she's done. She's not blocked, but she's off the needles. This is my Decor shawl. I started this in April of 2021, and she's done. And I'm going to stand up because that's how big she is. Decor shawl. Done. It's not quite 72 inches yet. Right now it's 62 inches, but I think when I block it, I'll probably get another 10 inches out of it. That's what she said. But how gorgeous is this? Look at this. She's even prettier off of the needles than she was on the needles. And yes, she's a girl. I don't know how to explain it, but she is. Look at it. It just keeps going. Gorgeous, right? Gorgeous. And then I can wear her already. It'll be a lot better when she's blocked. I'm not going to be able to wear her for the whole video. And my ends are woven in. And see how the edge is like, that'll black out, I hope. Because I think I just knit my lace rows tighter than I knit my knit rows, right? But when I block it, it'll all, I think I'm going to get blocking wires for this. Knitting friends, please let me know blocking wires for something this big, because it feels like this would take 84 million pins to block. Whereas if I get blocking wires, maybe only 3 or 4 million? I don't know. The ends are woven in because I use the weave and Steven method. So I weave my ends in as I change colors. 12 out of 10 recommend the weave and Steven method. The one thing I did learn is, like, this was my first or second or third color change. This is my second color change. Don't trim your ends when you use weave and Steven, because when I block it, right, it'll block, like, it'll stretch when I block it, and you don't want to cut your ends so short that you lose your, but look up on YouTube, Weave and Steven. It's Steven West of West Knits, and you can see, like, they're all done. I did not weave these ends in after going back and taking after you can really see it there. I did not weave these ends in after the shawl came off the needles. These were all done as I changed colors. Because I will tell you right now, I would never go back and weave all the ends in on this. It would sit with ends unwoven for eternity. But this will be my shroud. I will be buried with her. Her and Josephine, if I ever finish Josephine. I am obsessed with this piece. So I'm so proud of myself. I can't wait to block it. I think I do have to buy blocking wires though. So experienced knitters out there, I know there's some of you out there, and I know you hang out here and you give me all kinds of good advice. I'm ready for more. Blocking wires? What's the best way to block this beast? Because she's big. And I love her. But I don't want to use 10,000 pins to block her. Also, can I just say, small victory. Since I started working out about 8 weeks ago, I never would have stood up in front of the camera and let you all see my stomach. That's a me problem. But since I started working out, I'm just feeling so good. I have all the energy, and I love it. And I do little things that I don't notice until I do them, like standing up in front of the camera. So I'm proud of myself. Okay. 2 start and finishes. Where are my Quirky Quakers? Quirky Quaker. Okay, so Spooky Summer ATC was a start and finish since the last video. I don't think I showed this in the last video. So I started, finished it. It was like a Sappho, S-A-F-F-O, not S-A-P-H-O, which we also like. Sappho, start and fully finished object. You heard it here. It's a new acronym for us. And then my other finish, here it is. It's in my Quirky Quaker bag. Oh, Quirky Quakers. This Quirky Quaker zebra came up as a pull for Cross Stitch Monopoly as a roll. Quirky Quaker zebra, of course, by the divine Deanna of Darling and Whimsy Designs. It calls for 3 colors of Brennan needle. I didn't have those 3 colors at the time, so I kitted all of these Quirky Quakers up from stash. So the green in this is Green Shoots Flower Silk from Stitchy Box, which I will now put back with my Stitchy Box collection. And the white and black are just DMC 310 and B5200. Look how cute! And this is a 32 count, I think it's called Basalt. 32 count Basalt from Zweigart. It has the dots on it. I thought that would be fun for the zebra. Or zebra, if you prefer. I think I do prefer. It would be cute like that for the zebra. And I love him. And now, according to my Quirky Quaker inventory shared, which I will link. I can link my Quirky Quaker inventory shared down below because I know everyone is always like, who has the list of Quirky Quakers? And it's me. I have the master list of Quirky Quakers. So I'll link it down below if you would like to take a peek at it. Anyway, I don't know. I think I only now have like 12 or 13 Quirky Quakers left to do, which feels like a lot. But it's not that many because they stitch so fast. So there is Zebra. I saffed him. So he was a start and finish. He's a boy. Also, I can't explain why he's a boy. My shawl is a girl. I don't know. I saffed him on October 6th. I needed to put in 500 stitches for Cross Stitch Monopoly. And there were only, by my count, 667 stitches. So I got to 500 stitches for Monopoly and I was like, YOLO. And we just finished him. So, there we go. I could maybe fit another Quirky Quaker on here if I went down in the corner. Probably I could. So I might leave this in the bag just if I want to put another Quaker on it. But there we go. Zebra is donezo. And my next one up is Quirky Quaker Pride. I did spin that on my wheel of Quirky Quakers last time, but I didn't stitch it this past week because I've been doing all my plans, right? So finish Decor shawl was a plan from last week. Finish this was a plan from last week. And I have 2 whips. So my plans from last week, finish ATC Summer. It's done, fully finished. Finish Decor shawl. I was so close last time. And then my 2 other plans were my Monopoly stitching, which was Autumn Night Garden, 500 stitches, and then a new start on my scarf. So let me just, in that order, show you that I did all my plans. So this is Autumn Night Garden from Tiny Modernist, and I'm stitching mine on 40 count. I'm stitching mine on 40 count. Let me show you the full thing, the whole shebang, so you can get an idea of what it will look like, so you don't get excited about how far I'm not on this. So this is, it's called Autumn Night Garden. It's from Tiny Modernist. It was originally released on her Patreon, which is where I got it, but it is now out in the world. So anyone can get this. Tiny Modernist, Cheryl has her own website. I also recommend Abby Topknot. She definitely carries Tiny Modernist. But this is where I am. So I'm stitching mine with all the called for DMC on a 40 count Murky. I'm having regrets on the Murky. It's hard to stitch on. Murky is not easy to stitch on for me. I really have to have good lighting. I'm 43. I'm almost 44. So like I need to bow to the fact that I probably need magnifiers and some supplemental lighting here and there. But I'm loving it. It's coming along super well. I think I'm like conservatively 20% of the way through this, which is not that much. But it's not a fun stitch. Okay, let me say, the pattern is a fun stitch. The way I'm stitching it is not fun. The fabric is making it not fun for me. However, I'll be so happy with it when it's done, right? Future Michelle will thank past Michelle for choosing this frickin' fabric. And I love Murky. Like, this is a moody piece of fabric. And I fully chose to put it. You can look right there and you can see like, wow, Michelle, you put it in just about the darkest spot you could put it in. Yeah, that was intentional. I did that on purpose because I wanted this like feel, right? The vibe of this fabric. Oh, this is also Murky. Wow, really? This is also Murky. Murky is wild though because it's so like this fabric definitely has distinct moods, right? So like this piece is only going to take up like this little bit here. And then if I stitch something over here and I post them side by side and I say this is stitched on Murky and this is stitched on Murky, people are going to be like, you're lying. Unless you know Murky. But I love a fabric with this many different moods. It's really versatile, especially in 40 count. So That is Autumn Night Garden by Tiny Modernist. Plan number 3 accomplished from last week. Also, check this. I keep all my flosses for this in this. This is a... What is this? This is a floss buddy from my friend Karina at... oh my god. It's been so long since I used to do sales and stuff for Karina. Bags Plus. Bags Plus. So this is... I think this is called a Lilla. And it's a tri-fold. So it has all the pockets for the DMC. And then it has a pocket down below. I keep my needle minder and my needle in there. In the pocket down below. But I love a floss buddy. I use them for a lot of things because they just don't let the floss out. So that's where I am with that. We are cruising along, doing well. Like I said, not halfway. Maybe 20%. It might be 30%, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. This is a goal to finish this year. I'm doing Year of Whips, and my goal was to finish 7 of my Year of Whips pieces. I'm not quite there, but Decor shawl was one of them. So I am gaining on it. I'm gaining on the finish. And then my other goal, I'm just going to show you my knitting now because my other goal was a new start for knitting. My other plan, rather, from last fortnight was a new start for knitting. And this is called the Juno... I'm sorry, it's called Memories of Juno. And it's a flippy little scarf shawl that is as easy to make as it is to wear. So I'm using the Taste of Alaska mini hank set, I think. This is designed by Melissa Highfill, who is a Tree Hugger's Wife Yarns. And we got this at my friend Steph and I bought the yarn for this at Changing Tides in Juno, Alaska. And if you bought the yarn these are the colors of yarn that we got. If you bought the yarn, then you got the pattern for free at the shop. So I'm using the yarn that we got, and also because you know me, I added some. So this is the yarn that came in the set, these 4 colors, plus this light blue. Can I do it? Those 4 colors plus the light blue is the yarn that came in the set. And then I had these yarns left over from my Decor shawl. So I'm just interspersing the leftover yarns from the Decor shawl into my Memories of Juno shawl. And it will make it so that the last few, like you can see here, this brown section is a lot thinner because the idea is you just knit until you run out. So like I ran out of my first color and I had this much left. So you knit until you run out, and then you move on to the next color. And so I knit my first color till I ran out, and now I am using my Decor shawl yarn. But I think it's really working because it's got the same tone as the rest of it with the pinks and the reds. But this color has some dappled like dark red and lighter blue and the darker blue. So I think this one is going to play super well with the other ones. And then the way that I lined them up, hold on. The way that I lined the colors up, I'll show you a picture. So this is the way that I'm going to fit the other colors into the memories of. So this came with the kit, this blue. This is a Decor color, kit color, kit color, kit color, Decor color, kit color, Decor color. And I really think that like this color here draws in the blue and the brown and the pink and this darker blue. This color here obviously references this one and this one and this one. So I think they're all kind of like playing into each other. This color looks really good with this color. It also has some black speckles. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so I'm on my second color and this is my travel project right now. So when we drive 2 hours to and from Rose's basketball games on Sundays, hour and 45, whatever. This goes with me, and I get a lot of good knitting in. And also when we're sitting at volleyball practices, that goes with me. When we're sitting at basketball practices, that goes with me. Although today I might take a different project, and I'll show you which one I'm taking, because I'm really excited that I might be coming into a close on this project. So the next project I want to show you is the one that's on the Q-Snap right now. This is called Taking Up Space. This is by Nuri of Shaded Stitchery. So I am stitching this as part of the birthday sal. It's Nuri's birthday month. Her birthday was this past week. Happy birthday, Nuri. Nuri and my friend Heather, link is my homeboy, Stitchy Swap and ATC, same birthday. That is a fabulous day. Fabulous day. I think it was the 9th. Pretty sure it was the 9th. Almost positive, but don't. I'm sorry if it wasn't. 10-9, I'm pretty sure. So I went ham on this. I actually took a day off of work for no reason on Friday. Just whole day off of work. And I started color completing on this. So the last time that I had this out, it looked like, let me show you. Have I mentioned how much I love Notion? Ask me about my Notion template. It's not my template. Ask me about the Notion template I use. Ask me about Nuri's Notion template. I think the last time y'all saw this, it might have looked like this. I'm pretty sure this is where it was when I picked it up this past time. Right? And this is where we are now. Right? So I finished this whole motif here. I finished these motifs. Started that one here. This is all the 3371 is done. All the 3371 here is done, and I'm taking the 3371 up here. It is called for in 2 colors, so it could be done in a Roxy Flossco overdyed. I didn't have that, so Nuri said if you don't have the overdyed, just sub in 3371. So I happen to have a mini cone. I have a mini cone of 3371, so you know I just subbed in the 3371. But I think like today, this is actually really, it's a lot of color changes, but this is a great car stitch. And I'm stitching this on a 36 count Fox and Rabbit. I don't remember what. Did I write down what? Yeah, this is 36 count Maben linen from Fox and Rabbit. I think it was the fabric of the month. I'm almost positive it was because I have half of a quarter. But I don't know. I'm torn. Like, do I take this with me on the road because this is an easy road stitch, or do I take my knitting? Or do I do both and I stitch on this in the car and I knit between? I take both. What am I even talking about? But so once I'm done the 3371 on this, then it's just a matter of time because everything else is color completing. And it's a little bit here, a little bit there with the color completing. And some of my colors are already complete. Like I think I've finished putting all this green in, the dark green. There's still some light green left, but I'm really excited about this. And I would love, love, love to have this finished. Not just because it's a year of whips, but because, so Nuri's birthday sal, where am I at? So Nuri's birthday sal, just so that y'all can participate, the week of October 5th, which ended yesterday, is to stitch on a shaded stitchery piece or a marketplace release. So of course I chose this. This is a shaded stitchery piece. The week of October 12th, which is the week that starts today, is something super colorful or something with specialty stitches. I give you super colorful, right? So because I could use this for 2 weeks in a row for Nuri Sal, I'm almost positive that I could have this finished at the end of next week or the middle. The week of October 19th is to stitch on a Fancy Lady or a BAP, which is a big ass project. And then the week of October 26th is to stitch on a Jed X stitch or something spooky. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm going to do for the week of October 19th. The week of October 26th, I want to stitch on Hex Hotel from D and Kari. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on for a week. I have a lot of BAPs left because I've been finishing things. The things that I've been finishing have been attainable finishes, right? Like even this out of the whips that I have left, this is one of the smaller whips that I have. Everything that I have left is starting to get to BAP status. because they take longer to finish. So that's a plan. Continue with taking up space. And then my last whip that I worked on, I think it was also for Monopoly. Finished taking up space, Stitch on Nuri's birthday sale. The last whip I worked on, which was also for Cross Stitch Monopoly, was my Retreat Spot Sampler. And I talked about the planning of this last video, I do believe, like where I was going to put the motifs. So I needed to put in 500 stitches for this. And I thought I would have to do a lot more work to put in 500 stitches. But it turns out that I just worked the Stitch and Stash retreat for 500 stitches. So look how sweet that is. I love this one. So at the Stitch and Stash retreat, which was a retreat in Edmonton, Alberta in June, it was put on by Jean and Kelly. By Jean and Kelly. JK. Jean and Kelly, not kidding. Some lovely women stitched name tags for every single one of us. And there were like 5 Michelles there. So I was running around, of course, all weekend looking for all the other Michelles so that we could all look at each other's name tags and see how cute they were. And there was a Michelle that the women put our names on these name tags just as we typed them, or just as they were typed to them. So there was a Michelle that didn't have an E on the end. And she was kind of upset about her lack of E. So, of course, I traded her name tags because I thought, I'm going to put this name tag onto my Retreat Spot Sampler, and I can use the lack of an E to help tack it down to the fabric. So I just added that E. And then the rest of this is from the Tiny Modernist pattern, Meet Me at the Beach. So I pulled one of the flamingos, of course, and then the little row of beach huts, and then I wrote Stitch and Stash. So that was more than enough to get me to my 500 stitches for Monopoly. And here is that was my needle minder. Here is the project in all its glory so far. I still have more stuff to put on it, but there is my retreat. Do you love this thing? I love this thing. This is my Retreat Spot Sampler so far. So I still have Acorn Gathering 2024. I missed Acorn Gathering 2025 because I was on the cruise, but I have Acorn Gathering 2024 to put on this, Stitch North 2025, and then my not Flosstube at Sea, the Alaska Retreat 2025. Those are the 3 that I have left to put on this. And then I will be, quote, caught up, and I can add new retreat motifs as I go to them. So I'm so excited. I don't have any retreats lined up right now because I told Rose that I will travel less this coming year. And I meant it. So right now, the only retreat I have lined up for 2026 is Flosstube at Sea. Which, incidentally, I should mention, if you are interested, if you like cruising, or if you have ever cruised, or if you have never cruised, or if you hate, well, probably not if you hate cruising, but if you like the Caribbean, and you like stitching, and you like retreats, and you like cruising, then you should head over, and this is a shameless plug. I love Jean Farish. I love Catherine and Elizabeth, who are her daughters. I think they run an impeccable business. I have never been on a cruise with them that I did not have a blast. Flosstube at Sea 2027 goes on sale this week, I believe. It's February 21st through 28th, so it's a little bit later. It's always been in January before. The itinerary is incredible. It is, we sail out of Fort Lauderdale. We stop in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Then St. Thomas. Oh, that's 2027. Hold, please. Oh, yeah, 2027 goes on sale this week. Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, St. Thomas, and then St. Kitts. It's going to be amazing. And then there's always Flosstubers that help Jean host the retreat. So in 2027, it'll be Holly from Mrs. Jones Stitches and Sherry from Colorado Cross Stitcher. I'm not super familiar with either of them, but if you are, they're going to be hosting Flosstube at Sea. You will never regret a cruise with Jean Farish. I just don't think you will. This is the one I'm excited about. I'm taking my mama on this one. This one's sold out. Flosstube at Sea 2026 is sold out. We are going we leave from Fort Lauderdale. We go to Grand Cayman, Aruba, and Curacao. I've always wanted to go to Curacao. But all that to say, if you are not already on the email list for Stitcher's Escapes, the best way to get the registration for Flosstube at C27 is to get on the email list for Stitcher's Escapes. And I will make myself a note right now that I spelled exquisite wrong. You'll know why in a minute. Anyway, Stitcher's Escapes, cruise with Jean Farish. You will not regret it. Jean is lovely. Jean surprises me so often, so many times. So I love Jean Farish. I'm a Jean Farish stan. You can't talk me out of it. She's my homie. Which I don't know. I always, it's one of those things where, like, you watch somebody on... I used to watch Jean Farish on TV. She had a show on PBS. And now she's my friend. Like, full on. I'm trying to zip a whip. Okay. All right. Enough about that. I worked on my retreat spot sampler. That's more than you wanted to know about that. Autumn Night Garden retreat spot sampler. That's all of my... Is that all of my whips? We talked about Spooky Summer ATC... My Decor shawl, Quirky Quaker zebra, Memories of Juno, Autumn Night Garden, Retreat Spot Sampler, Taking Up Space. That was all of my plans. I did all of my plans. So my plans for next time are finish Taking Up Space. I think I can do it. Nuri's birthday sal. Obviously, that's going to help me finish Taking Up Space. Keep knitting, which I will. And then 500 stitches. I just got my latest Monopoly roll, and I'll be stitching 500 stitches on Taking Up Space, which is one of my oldest whips, and I still can't quite decide if I like it or not, or if I'm going to give it up, but I keep kind of plucking away at it. I never reach for it. Let me just show you. Walk Fast Sampler is an ode to Betty White, which is why I love it, but it's big. This is a BAP. It's like that old Scandinavian saying, you can lead a herring to water, but you have to walk fast or he'll die. This is a lot of stitches. And I have, right now, I have this part done. I have the pink. I started the hand a little bit, and I have 2.5 of these motifs. It's a pretty sad start. I can just show you where I am. So I don't know. Do I like it? Do I not like it anymore? I really don't know. I'm torn, but I just keep working on it. But this is how far I am out of that whole big ass sampler. And I did a full, I'm doing absolutely none of the called for colors. I'm doing a full conversion. But I don't know. I'll put 500 more stitches in and we'll see where we're at. To be determined. It's a big commitment, that project. But every time I think about letting it go, I can't. So I don't know what that means. Maybe that means I still want to do it. Let's talk about Happy Mail. I got some Happy Mail this week. Some in real life Happy Mail and some mail in the mail Happy Mail. So in the mail Happy Mail, I received from Deanna, Darling and Whimsy. I love stamps. I think this is a mushroom. That's a chicken of the woods mushroom. And then I don't know what that is, but I love it. I love stamps. I'm in Deanna's Patreon at the level where we get some goodies in the mail now and then. Don't ask me about the timeline. I'm not here for the goodies. I'm here to support my friend. But she puts together these little journal kits that you can buy on her Etsy shop, cross-stitch journals. And so she's always sending the cutest little ephemera. Look at these animals in Halloween costumes. That mouse is dressed up as a mummy, I do believe. And then, of course, we get Deanna Quirky Quaker stickers. And she has more designs than Quirky Quakers, fam. So this bat is one of her designs as well. And that's a holographic sticker. And then just more pieces of seasonal ephemera. So thank you, Deanna, for the ephemera. And you know I also save your stamps. She always has good stamps. I feel like I got to up my stamp game. And then the Fox and Rabbit Fabric of the Month Club for September came. Anna, if you're watching, look away. This one's called Olive Honey Eater, and I love it. This is way different from any of the other ones they've done, and I love it. So I will cut this in half. And again, talk about a fabric having two different personalities, right? I feel like this side is much more green, and this side is much more taupe. And I love that in my overdyed fabrics. Because if I were going to stitch one big thing on it, it would still work. Right? But if I wanted to cut this fabric in half, one side is much more mottled than the other. So I just love cross stitch and fabric and overdyes and all the things. And then a very sweet woman called Denise, she reached out to me and she said she made a bag and she wants me to have it. And so she sent it to me. And when it came in the mail, I was like, oh, Denise, you know. Da-da-da! It's a cycling bag. It's a cycling bag. And it just so happens she sent two. So when I do another charity D-stash, this probably the bigger one, actually. They're two different sizes. This one is just slightly bigger, you can see. I'll probably put the bigger one up in the charity. But how sweet are these? Denise, thank you so much. Like, just out of nowhere, for no reason. Really beautiful inside lining. Just gorgeous. And they came in the mail this week. And one of them will be up for charity once I get my life together and organize that again. It's not really once I get my life together. It's once I get a slight tiny scotch of a bit unbusy. And I don't know when that'll be. But this I'll probably also put up for charity. I'll probably do this hank of silk that Steph gave me on the cruise, and then this jellyfish as well. It's just going to be like a charity D-stash. And I don't know, let me know down in the comments, is it better to do that? Do y'all prefer, if you participate in the charity D-stashes, do you all prefer to do those online? Like, online. They're always online. Let me back it up. Do you all prefer to do those on Instagram, where it's just first come, first served, and when I post the pictures, you say me please, and then it's yours? Or do you prefer to do it like on YouTube or Twitch, probably Twitch, where it's live, and you're like, me please, me please, me please, and then we choose a winner? Let me know in the comments if you have a preference. If nobody comments, then I'll assume nobody has a preference. And then the other happy mail that I got wasn't really a happy mail, but I wanted to share it. This is super fun, and it's a bit of a mystery, which is very charming to me. Someone left this on my desk at work. The Usefulness of Useless Knowledge by Abraham Flexner. And I haven't cracked it yet. I haven't opened it yet. But it's really interesting. It's about the importance of the search for knowledge just for knowledge's sake. Like, the idea of the book is some of our best discoveries as humans have come from just seeking knowledge. And the amazing discoveries are actually ancillary to the pursuit of knowledge. So you're just looking for things. You're just studying things. This book describes how basic research has led to major transformations in the past century and explains why it is an essential precondition of innovation and the first step in societal and cultural change. It makes the case that society can achieve deeper understanding and practical progress today and tomorrow only by truly valuing and substantially funding the curiosity-driven pursuit of useless knowledge in both the sciences and the humanities. A lot of our really great discoveries apparently have come from people just wanting to study something, and then, oops, I found XYZ thing that's been applied to this problem in the world. So rather than setting out to solve a problem and like a focused research, the idea that just getting knowledge, just seeking knowledge for knowledge's sake is actually more than that, right? So I do not know who left this on my desk, but I would like to know because I feel like they know me. So it was probably one of my nurses. They're always doing sweet things like that. Must be doing something right at work. So thank you, whoever did that. That was my last happy mail. I do have a giveaway from last week. So in honor of Nuri's birthday, actually Nuri, this was Nuri's idea. Nuri sent me, she said, do you want to pick some of my market releases or one of my market releases, one for you and one to give away? And I said, who says no to that? I don't want to take it out of the bag. This is Closely Kept number 5. This is the one I chose as my giveaway. And I think this was model stitched by Nati. Yeah, this was model stitched by Nati. And the brilliant thing about Nuri is, of course, she gives you both of these patterns, right? And it's inspired by this daguerreotype. You can see up here, there's a daguerreotype from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And Nuri took this motif on the inside of it. You can see it better when you're actually holding the thing in your hand, and she adapted it. And so she did it once in the positive, in what we would think of as a normal style, where she charted the motifs, and then once in the negative, the Assisi style. And they're both stitched on picture this plus huntress, I think. Not huntrix. I see you, my K-pop Demon Hunters fans. You all heard me say huntrix. It's not huntrix, it's huntress. Oh, this one is stitched on huntress, and this one is stitched on discord, not huntrix. Anybody else have golden in their head now? Or soda pop? Hopefully I don't get a hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for that. Anyway, my patrons helped me choose a winner, and there were 9 people that entered, and I'm sending this to Charlotte in Arizona. So Charlotte, I will put this in my to mail pile, and hopefully I get it to you before the end of Nuri's birthday month. That's it. And now the whole chat is golden. Not the whole chat. There was one comment, but I exaggerate. Okay. And I don't have a giveaway for next week because I was not that organized this morning. We got to get out the door. Okay, there's 2 comments now. We're going to be golden. We got to get out the door to Rosie's next basketball game. But I do have time to break here, draw a tarot card, and talk about 2 really fantastic books that I finished this past fortnight. So if you were only here for the stitching, then I thank you for hanging out, and I will see you again in another fortnight. My watch says it's time to get up. And if you're hanging out for the books, then hang out for just about 20 more minutes. I don't have that long. Hang out for about 10 more minutes. All right, so ever since I got burned with that new tarot deck, in Alaska, I have been drawing from my trading deck because I love it. So I also have, you'll note, Quirky Quaker sticker there. That's one of the ones I still have to stitch, turtles. I have this one. Oh, this one too. And I have this one. No math, all vibes. Which is not true. Well, it's kind of true. Anyway, this is my trading deck, and it's based on James R. Eads' Prisma Visions Tarot, which is the first tarot that I ever got as a grown-up. My friend Holly gifted it to me. If we haven't traded a tarot card, or we haven't traded a tarot card in a while, drop me a comment down below and let me know that you want to trade a tarot card, or slide into my DMs over on Instagram, because I feel like I haven't traded in a long time, and I would like to do some trades again. And I'm not going to see anybody for a while because I'm not traveling very much. So, oh, there we go. 8 of Wands. This is the second time this week that the 8 of Wands has popped out. So I just shuffle until a card flips over in this deck, because it's really hard to like shuffle to completion because the cards all look so different. You can see, like, they're mostly the same size, and when they're not, I will fully trim them down to be the same size. I don't really care about that. I'll cut a card. I'll repurpose a card. It's fine. But this is the 8 of Wands, and this is, again, my second time this week with the 8 of Wands. And it's about, like, the Wands is a very energetic suit. So this is about, like, you're almost to the end of your journey, right? From Ace to 10. So the energy that you've drawn out is starting to infiltrate everything. Like, these flowers are all part of what you've done, and your energy is starting to, like, really kind of reach up and grab things. So now is the time to hustle. Don't hesitate. Keep going. you've done a lot. You're almost there. Hustle hard. This is the hustle hard card, I guess. Let me see what actually the book says, because I just call it the hustle hard card. That might not be totally correct. So it says, after the helter-skelter scamper of the Seven of Wands, you've landed on solid ground. The translucent tendrils that have guided you through the early stages of your journey have finally taken root. Thickening into a flowering vine, it echoes the wildflowers that fed the first fire of your vision. This has got a lot of alliteration in it. It shoots up a tree, racing to break through the canopy and reach the life-giving sun. After a perilous journey, it just needs one final push to burst into fruition. Your dream is coming through at last. You may be tired, but there's no stopping now. Nearing the finish line is no time to slow down. Your situation demands one final burst of energy to propel you into victory. Show hustle, don't hesitate, you're nearly there. It's the hustle hard card. So, I don't know what I'm going to be hustling hard on today. Maybe it's for the week that's coming up. I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's to finish taking up space. That's what I love about tarot is it's not like this card fell out of the deck to tell me that in one specific situation I need to do one specific thing. This is like an overarching theme of the day or the week or until I draw the next card. So, hustle hard. I do feel rested and able to hustle hard. Don't always feel rested or able to hustle hard, but I feel good about that now. Okay. So books. I finished 2 audio. I'm audiobooks. This is why I haven't cracked this tiny little book yet, because I'm all audiobooks all the time. So the first audiobook that I finished this week is called Here One Moment, and it's by Leanne Moriarty. She is an Australian author. And the premise of this book is, I think I talked about this last video. The premise of the book is there's people on a short flight from Hobart to Sydney, Australia, and a woman gets up from her seat halfway through the flight and she starts pointing at each passenger, and trigger warning, she starts pointing at each passenger and she starts saying, age of death, cause of death, or cause of death, age of death, one way or the other. And so that's very upsetting to some passengers. Some passengers think it's a joke. Some passengers don't think it's a joke and they get very scared. And then when they get off the plane, her predictions for 3 people come true. So then the book starts with her making the predictions, and then it kind of jumps back to her past, and it follows some of the passengers forward, and then it catches her up through her life until they meet up again. And the book, it doesn't end how you think it ends, right? So this book made me ask 2 questions, right? Maybe 3 questions. The first most obvious question is, would I want to know? Would I want to know cause of death, age of death? I don't know. I don't know if I would want to know. I haven't figured that part out yet. But the next question from that question, and I think the more important question, do you ever do the 5 whys? When something happens to you, do you think, why did this happen? Okay, why? Okay, why? Okay, why? And you keep asking why. It's a technique we use in the hospital to figure out why something went wrong. But it also works IRL. So would I want to find out age of death, cause of death? I don't know. But the next question that came out of that for me, and I think for me the more important question is, what would I do differently if I knew age of death, cause of death? Would I do anything differently? And if so, what? And then the next question, which I think is even more important than the second question, is why am I not doing that stuff now? If I knew my age and cause of death, and that would cause me to live differently than I'm living now, why am I not living differently anyway? Right? So I think that, and that this is a fiction book. But I think the thought process that this book took me on was really welcome. And I don't know that I've really changed anything since reading this book, but it does affirm my choice, strangely, to go to less retreats next year. Because what I would do differently is I would want to soak up every second with Rose and Wade right now in the season that we are in our lives. So would I do anything differently than I'm doing currently? Probably I would. I just have to figure out like how and what. But isn't that interesting? Like, good book, really good book, lots of death. So also some abuse, not too much abuse, not like gratuitous, but really, really good book. Made me think a lot. And then the next book, way different than the first book. It's called The Courage to be Disliked. Let me get off the praise page and get you to the title so you can see what it looks like. Hold on. The Courage to... Maybe there is no... Maybe it just starts with the praise page. Okay. Anyway, this is what the title looks like. The Courage to be Disliked. The subtitle is The Japanese Phenomenon That Shows You How to Change Your Life and Achieve Real Happiness. It's by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitaki Koga. I listened to it on audiobook. So the idea of the book is based on philosophy, ancient Greek philosophy, mixed with what I consider to be a very Japanese mindset, mixed with the psychology of Alfred Adler. And we don't really know, we know Freud, right? Adler was a contemporary of Freud who disagreed with him on the basic premise of why we are who we are. Freudian psychology is very much based in etiology. I learned this from the book, by the way. Freudian psychology is very much based in etiology, meaning the things that happened to you make you who you are. And you can't really escape those things. So like your traumas and the way that you were treated and the way that you were raised and the events that happened in your life, they make you who you are now, and there's no changing that. You just have to deal with that. Adler deals in teleology, which means that you are not the sum of your experiences. You are the sum of your choices. And I'm not getting this right because this is my first introduction to Adlerian psychology. But the basic premise of this book is what I took from this book is that there's something called the breakdown of tasks and in Adlerian psychology. And what that means is like, it's my task to control my things. It's not my task to control your reaction to my thing. So it sounds very much like boundaries. And I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it because again, it's the first time I've ever like experienced it or played with it. But for example, and the way that the courage to be disliked comes into this is my task is to choose whether or not I film a Flosstube on any given Saturday. And the choice to film a Flosstube should be based entirely on this moment in time for me. Does it work for my life? Does it fit with my mood today? Do I have things that I want to show? Do I desire to do this task? How people feel about whether or not I filmed a Flosstube is not my task. How people feel about whether or not I put out a video this week or what I said in my video this week is their task. Therefore, I cannot assume ownership of how they feel about what I say in this video, right? So my task is making the video. And if I make the video and I'm happy with myself for making the video, then I have completed my task and therefore I can choose to be happy, right? And I think that's a very boiled down and simplified and like I took one piece of information out of it. But what I took from it also is that if you live your life wanting to be liked, if one of your goals in life or if your self-worth rests on being liked, then what you are doing is saying that your task is to please every single person around you. And that is an impossible task because every single person around you cannot possibly want the same thing from you. So that hit hard. As a people pleaser, that shook me because it feels true, right? It feels like if I am worried about pleasing every single person, then I am a different and therefore deceitful person in every situation that I'm in. But if I'm choosing to do my tasks and follow what needs to be done for me, and for my responsibilities, right? It's not hedonism. We're not talking about anarchy. We're talking about like, my job at work is XYZ. Therefore, I make these choices to get my job done. How people react to my choices is their task, right? Not saying being malicious, but saying like, I can't take into account everybody's reaction and every single repercussion on every single human. It really is kind of, it was really deep, and they talked, I should probably listen to this again because there's a lot more that I didn't walk away with, right? Like there was stuff about community. Part of our task is like, people are more happy when they think of themselves as part of the community. What is the community? Is the community your family? Is the community your workplace? Is the community, and it was written in a very Socratic dialogue kind of way with this philosopher speaking with the student, which really works for me because the back and forth, right? Because then I start to add my voice into the conversation. Like I'm having thoughts too while I'm listening to the book. But, the philosopher asserted that your community is actually the entire world and everything in it, including every person, every animal, and every inanimate object. And that makes sense too, because I do feel like, you know, I have a responsibility. One of my tasks is not to crash my car, right? I have a responsibility to my car to not crash it, and therefore to myself to have a means of transportation, right? So I don't know if that's exactly what he meant, but I'm still like messing around. There's a lot in this book. It was a hefty 6 hours of listening. But I am full on super glad that I listened to it and I checked it out. I don't know if my therapist recommended that book. I'm almost positive that my therapist recommended that book because I am a people pleaser and we are working on that. But there it is. So The Courage to be Disliked, if you want something a little bit toothsome, I almost wish that I had gotten this book in paperback because I think I would write margin notes to myself and go back and look at them. But I also have a ton of books laying around the house that I thought I would write margin notes in and go back and look at them, and I haven't done that. So I think the audiobook was the right choice for me. So that's it. That's all I've got. Videos and tarot. If you want to trade a tarot card, hit me up either in my DMs. Michelle Bendy is probably best on Instagram, or down below in the comments. And the one thing I forgot to talk about. Shoot, I forgot. I knew I would forget to talk about this. That's okay. I'll post on it on my Instagram. We'll do it that way. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm gonna go get ready for basketball, and I will see you all in a fortnight. Unless you are on that Patreon tier where we do Zooms, I'm going to try to do the Zoom this upcoming week. I think I can find a time for it. Cross your fingers. But if you're not in that tier, then never mind. I'll see you in a fortnight. And eventually, maybe someday, we'll get back to streaming on Twitch on Sundays. Who knows? Life is lifing, right? My current task is choosing whether or not I stream on Twitch on Sundays, and currently I choose no. So there we go. Hilarious psychology. I don't think I'm quite getting it right, but I feel like I'm grasping close. So thank you for hanging out. If you hanged out for the book, talk, whatever. If you hung out for the second part of the video, I appreciate you. It was heavy today, but it's very enjoyable. And I'll see you either way in 2 weeks. Talk to you soon. Bye.